Adventure Time, a story beloved by many for its wackiness, unique cast, production team, and whatever else you can really think of. For as long as I can remember, this cartoon has been a powerhouse on Cartoon Network, and ever since it finished airing back in 2018, the world has constantly demanded that the story makes a return in some way, shape, or form. The fans were so loud, in fact, that only 3 years later in 2021, a new project was confirmed to be in the works. Fionna and Cake. Yeah. That Fionna and Cake that appeared in that one ridiculously popular episode back in 2010. You know, the one with Marshall Lee? Good little girl.
Always picking a fight with me.
Yeah, that one. However, surprisingly, rather than remaining a show targeted for kids on Cartoon Network, it would actually begin airing in 2023 on HBO Max, with the intention of tackling more adult-centered themes. While this brought rise to criticism about whether or not an adult version of Adventure Time could even work, and I guess even if it was necessary, as we sit here in 2026 with 2 seasons of the material, I and most people can confidently say that this decision might have been the right one. I believe that Fionna and Cake is the proper way to bleed maturity into a cartoon while still remaining so stupidly faithful to the original material. Today we're going to be exploring this, but before we begin, this is my first ever video on this channel. Please show me some love, share your thoughts. Thank you guys. While Adventure Time was always about wacky adventures, crazy monsters, all set in a beautiful, fantasy-like world, Fionna and Cake shattered that illusion from literally its first few minutes on air. What the audience expected was the Fionna and Cake we saw all those years ago, where they existed in the same world as Finn and Jake, essentially acting as gender-bent versions of those characters. Instead, we were greeted by Fionna, albeit a lot more mundane, and Cake, who's basically just a regular old house cat. These two weren't fighting monsters just like our good old pals were. They were working, being so oddly normal. In fact, that is their whole world that the majority of episode 1 spends time introducing us to. Marshall Lee isn't a vampire. He's just a regular street musician. Gary isn't a gumball prince. He's just a baker. There's no swords, no magic, just an animated world with the intention to mirror reality. In episode 2, where we do actually head back to the land of Ooh, there's been changes here too. Simon Petrikov, formerly known as the Ice King, is in a state of chronic depression as he deals with the loss of his fiancée and the constant social isolation from the people around him. Everywhere he looks, there's candy people, dirt beer people, who all know him for one thing, the magical story he wrote as the Ice King, Fionna and Cake. Despite writing more stories after his return to normalcy, no one seems to even care. He can't even relate to any of this magic anymore since he's just a normal guy. No matter how hard he tries, how hard his friends try to magically fix him, everything around him is just monotone. Everyone has something and someone, but he has nothing anymore besides the foreign surroundings of a world that he no longer fits into. The shift to adult in Fionna and Cake isn't simply about adding more blood, showing more butt cheeks, or spelling out adult humor through a clearer lens. It's about the more detailed introduction to nuance such as this that wasn't always present in the world of Adventure Time. For the entirety of the first season, Simon is constantly grieving, only getting things together once he realizes that there's people out there who genuinely need his help. He isn't magically fixed, he's pulled by a sense of responsibility, something all too familiar to the world as we know it. The entire season is spent chasing something so close, yet always so out of reach, until just like Fionna, he has to come to terms with everything. The fact that Betty gave her life to save him, her one and only desire when she put that crown on, every decision that led them there. Despite it all, he was given a second chance at life after his shortcomings. Not Ice King, not Betty, but Simon. Fionna doesn't yearn for a world full of magic where everything as she knows it might not be the same. She wants to protect her friends, her world, no matter how slim the chances. Both characters end right back up where they started. Fionna in her city of mundanity, and Simon in his world full of abstractness. Season 2 capitalizes off of this momentum, using the same dual perspective approach between Fionna World and the Land of Ooh, where we see yet another array of striking perspectives, with the most notable one being Finn the Human, as the entire Land of Ooh attempts to save him from certain death. We get a deep dive into his mind and see all the suppressed memories over the years, like losing his arm while trying to pursue his father, Jake's death, and so many others that Fionna doesn't dare even touch. It's the prelude to the heart-wrenching conversation between young Finn and Fionna in Season 2, Episode 10, where the tragic hero is still grieving the death of his best friend, believing that no one around him loves him the same. Jake was his guiding light in life. He was always by his side to protect him, and as long as he was there, Finn never had to confront these sort of problems before. Take a look at Season 1, Episode 8 of Adventure Time, Ocean of Fear, where rather than confronting his fear of the ocean entirely on his own, Jake is there to lead him along the way. The entirety of Adventure Time was always about their connection. A human boy with no one to relate to, no one to stick by his side. No one besides his brother, who's a talking dog, able to help him mediate the world around him. In the past, he always felt loved. Jake's very existence was a reminder of that every single day. That's why this scene is so brutal. The light in his life literally went out, and he's submerged in the aftermath, left to pick up the pieces. A topic like this could never be explored in the original Adventure Time, simply because, at the time, the story wasn't really positioned to tackle something like this, nor did it really have the right audience to either. Fionna and Cake, though mixed in its reception, is a very interesting take on the spin-off formula, very reminiscent of works like Steven Universe Future, which made the deliberate choice to take a deeper look into not just the world during what can be perceived as a period of normalcy, but the psyche of the cast after everything that's happened. It explores this through an array of lenses, such as grief, depression, isolation, regression, trauma, and many more themes that the story didn't always have the ability to explore in the past. It never tries to emphasize vulgarity or any of the common adult tropes for the sake of proving that it's trying to be mature. It shows you through the characters and the world. A lot of people thought that the extent of this was going to be Fionna saying the F word. There were a lot of people in the start who weren't happy, so I hope that the story has sort of shattered that narrative at least a little bit. I really do think that the story has a little more to offer than that. The story is gradually sealing the band-aid on the scars of Ooh, while tackling another world, one just like ours, at the exact same time. It's very ambitious and very enjoyable, at least to me. But with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like and a comment. How do you guys feel about Fionna and Cake? How do you feel about my first video? Let me know down below. Consider dropping a sub, as I'll be creating all sorts of Fionna and Cake content in the future, along with other cartoons. I have the plans for Steven Universe next. It's been Jax, and I'll see you guys very soon.